Taxpayers, are you still waiting to receive your federal tax refund? If so, then you might be feeling stressed, confused, or highly agitated by this situation. In fact, you might be wondering whether you will ever get your refund at all, or if someone might have even stolen your identity. If this is you, then trust me, I understand how incredibly irritating this can be, but if your refund hasn't shown up yet, then there could be a number of reasons why this is the case. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you exactly why you might not have received your federal tax refund, how to check on the status of your refund, and how to make sure no one has used your social security number to steal it, and what you should do to actually get it. Without further ado, let's dive in. Over the past few years, millions of taxpayers in the United States have noticed that their refunds took significantly longer to reach them than it normally does. Many people had to wait weeks or even months longer than they normally would to receive their federal tax refunds. And one of the biggest reasons why this is the case is because during the COVID pandemic, the IRS got extremely backed up when it comes to processing tax returns and issuing refunds. And in fact, by February of 2022, the IRS had a massive backlog of roughly 23.5 million unprocessed individual and business returns. This is due to labor shortages, filing delays, and other difficulties created by the pandemic. This gigantic backlog of unprocessed tax returns caused quite a lot of headaches, as you can imagine, and the IRS actually hired an additional 5,000 new taxpayer service agents and implemented new tax return scanning technology in order to resolve the backlog. It made tremendous progress in this capacity, and by the end of 2022, the backlog was only 1.4 million returns. By March of 2023, the backlog was almost taken care of. So the tax return processing capacity of the IRS has increased dramatically since the height of the pandemic. And currently, the IRS is issuing refunds for 9 out of 10 tax returns in 21 days or less. However, about 10% of tax returns are getting delayed. There are a number of reasons why this is taking so much longer. Here are some of the most common reasons why your refund might be taking longer than normal. Number 1, you sent your taxes in by mail. Generally speaking, if you send your tax returns to the IRS the old-fashioned way with a paper return through the mail, it will take longer to process than if you send it electronically. So expect to wait longer if you sent it through snail mail. Number 2, there are errors in your tax return. If there are any errors on your tax return, then it will get flagged by the IRS's tax scanning software, and they will have to take a closer look at it. This process takes time and can be lengthy to wait for your refund. If you have a copy of your tax return, you can look through it to see if you can find errors yourself. If you do, then that is probably the reason why it's taking longer to get your refund. But number 3 is incomplete information. Did you forget to include information on your tax return, such as your social security number or the amount of dependents you have? If so, then this too could delay your refund. Every year, tens of thousands of people forget to include important details on their tax returns. Don't let this be you. And number 4, social security mismatch. If the social security number that you use on your tax returns does not match the number that is in the Social Security Administration's database, then this can cause a significant refund delay. So if you're meant to enter a 1 in your social security number on your tax return, but you accidentally enter a 7, then the IRS could be taking longer to give you your refund because it might still be trying to verify who you are. Number 5, filing early or late. Many people think that filing early will ensure that they will get their refunds quicker and that they won't have to deal with any delays. But here's the thing, guys. Sometimes there are last-minute changes to the tax code. When this happens, delays can occur while the IRS updates its software and trains its staff. So even if you file early, it does not guarantee that you'll get your refund quicker. Also, if you file late, then your refund can be slower because there is often a rush of people who file as late as possible, and then your return can get mixed in with this large rush of other returns, which can slow your refund. So filing either too early or too late can cause a delay in receiving your refund. And number 6, you're a victim of tax fraud. This is the scariest potential reason why your refund might be late, and I really hope this never happens to anyone. But unfortunately, tax fraud does occur in the country, and there are scammers and identity thieves who sometimes can successfully steal a person's tax refund. For example, during the 2020 filing season, the IRS identified over 450,000 fraudulent refund claims, and more than 44,000 of these fraudulent claims were associated with identity theft. So that means that almost 500,000 of the roughly 168 million individual tax returns that are filed each year involve a fraudulent refund claim. So while the odds might not be very high that it happened to you, it is still a possibility, and it's something that you need to look into if months keep passing by and you have not received your federal tax refund. Now that we have gone over why you might not have received your refund, let's talk about what you should do if you haven't received it. The first thing that you should do if you have not received your tax refund from the IRS is to go to www.irs.gov/refunds. When you get to the website, scroll down to the page a little bit and you will see a button that says check my refund status. Click on this button. After you do this, you'll be asked to enter some personal information such as your social security number, your filing status. They will also ask you what tax years you're searching for the refund status and how much exactly your refund amount shown on your tax return is. Make sure that you enter all of this information correctly to get an accurate result. After you enter all of this information, click submit. Once you do this, you'll be taken to a new page where the IRS will tell you exactly what is happening with your tax refund. It could tell you when it is expected to be issued or why it has not been issued. Now, in some cases, the IRS might actually tell you that your refund was applied to a past due tax obligation. So, if you see a message saying that, then it might mean that you owe tax and that the IRS issued your refund but applied the refund to a previous filed tax return. Hopefully, you'll get the answer you need when you go to this page, and you will be able to understand exactly what is happening with your refund and when you will get it. However, some people will still be confused after they look up their refund status on the IRS's website. So, when do you contact the IRS? There are a number of circumstances in which you should contact the IRS regarding your tax refund. The first is if it's been a very long time that has passed since you filed your taxes and you still not have received your refund. For example, if 4 or 5 months have gone by and your refund has not yet shown up, then you might want to get in touch with the IRS and figure out what's going on. Now, another reason to contact the IRS would be if the information you see when you look up your refund status does not make any sense to you. For example, if you look up your refund status and the website tells you that it's already issued you a refund or that it used your refund to pay for back taxes that you don't feel that you really owed, then this can also be a sign that you should get in touch with the IRS to find out what is going on. And finally, you should get in touch with the IRS if you believe that fraud has occurred and that your refund has been stolen for one reason or another. You can get in touch with the IRS to discuss your refund by calling 1-800-829-1954. If there is a local IRS office near you, you can also stop by the IRS. They have over 600 locations throughout the United States, so for most people, there is a good chance that there is a local IRS office somewhere nearby. But how are tax refunds actually stolen? If you have not gotten your tax refund yet, and if you suspect that it might have gotten stolen, you might be wondering, how do people actually steal these refunds? Well, there are actually several different ways that this could have happened. Tax refund thieves use a number of different strategies to steal refunds. They should be focusing on tax planning. But for example, they may simply steal it right out of your mailbox. Once they have your refund, they will then take it somewhere that can be exchanged for cash, such as a check cashing store. So if you ever see anyone snooping around your mailbox or looking sketchy, then this could be a tax refund thief. You should call the police immediately if you suspect that someone is trying to steal your mail. If you have a Ring doorbell or security system with surveillance of your mailbox, you can check the footage to see if someone stole your refund out of your mailbox. Tax refund thieves might also try to steal your personal information, which includes your social security number, through phishing emails or other scams where they try to pose as the IRS. Once they have your personal information, they can file an early tax return with your social security number. If your tax refund is stolen, then you should take several steps to get it back. First, you should call the IRS Identification Protection Specialized Unit at 1-800-908-4490 to inform them of the fraudulent activity. Next, you'll have to file Form 14039, an identity theft affidavit, which will result in the IRS putting an alert on your account. The IRS will then investigate the situation and try to find exactly what happened with your refund. If they discover that fraud has taken place, then they will still issue you your refund, even if someone else has already claimed it in most cases. But it can take around 180 days to have an issue like this resolved, so it will take some time. While you wait on the IRS, you should also carefully check your credit report to see if the identity theft has opened up any new credit accounts in your name and get additional identity theft protection. For example, you can get a personal identification number from the IRS that is required to be filled with your tax return for extra security. You can also change the passwords on your tax filing software, such as TurboTax, if you use this. Well, we've reached the end of this video. Congrats on making it this far. Hopefully now you have a much better understanding of why your refund might be delayed and what to do about it if you haven't gotten it yet. Here's what I want you to walk away with from this video. Number one, if your tax refund is taking a long time to actually arrive to you via direct deposit or mail, IRS has probably gotten backed up for one reason or another, or there is a mistake on your tax return. Number two, you can check the status of your refund by going to irs.gov/refunds. Number three, you should get in touch with the IRS if you don't understand the status report from the irs.gov website, or if you think your refund was stolen. If you have any questions about tax refunds, or if you have any other tax questions at this time, feel free to get in touch with my company today by clicking on the link below in the description. You can schedule a complimentary consultation. Finally, as always, you can see the link to Tax Strategy Accelerator community in the description as well. In this community, my tax professionals and I teach you how to use the same strategies used by the top 1% of the wealthiest Americans every single year. If you want to learn how to save big money in taxes and network with other like-minded individuals as you invest, then this is definitely something you're not going to want to miss out on. So feel free to check that out as well. That's all I got for today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.